Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks, and you are checking out a Mix Essentials tutorial for ADSR. In this video, we're going to be checking out the use of frequency ducking using a multi-band compressor. So essentially what this is you can think of it as sidechain multi-band compression. You're telling one instrument to duck other frequencies or certain frequencies out of the way so they pair nicer. A really common use of frequency ducking using multiband compression is on low-end instruments. I also like using it on higher frequency instruments as well because you can just carve out some nice space in the mix, and you can create nice pairs of instruments that sit better in your stereo field, especially if you're using pans. Now in this example, we'll be using an 808 sub bass, and we're going to try to pair it with a kick sample. So I'll play the demo in a second. First, let's talk about multiband compression just quickly, because a lot of you guys will know what it is. I don't want to bore any of you people who do, but for the people who don't, multiband compression is essentially a compressor that lets you target certain frequencies or bands of the audio spectrum. So if we let's pull up FabFilter's Pro Multiband. You can see that this is a band of frequencies going from 36.233 hertz to 117.38 hertz. So that's the really low end. Now that's the only part of the audio that will get compressed on a multiband compressor. So that being said, let's look at the sub bass patch that we'll be working with. And it's coming from this contact library right here. Okay, so you can hear that there is a kick in that sample. Now that's what an 808 kind of kick is for hip hop and a lot of EDM. It's a sub bass with a kick. Well, what happens when you want to pair that kick that's in that sample or in the contact instrument in this case? You want to pair it with another kick. I want to pair it with this kick. Because this kick has a nice, almost like, it kind of sounds like a real membrane type kick, like an actual kick. So layering those two together could be cool. But right now, there's going to be too much frequency masking occurring from both the low and actually the high end. So if we look at the frequency spectrum of this kick sample, there's stuff happening from about 30, 40 hertz all the way up to 100. That's where it's living. And with this 808, if we do the same thing, the actual kick's happening at about 50 to 100 as well. So those two sounds are going to mask each other. Now I like to use, when I use this frequency ducking multiband compression on my sub bass and my kick, I like to use two instances of it. So it's kind of like my own little twist on this technique. So what I've done is I've bounced the kicks into one audio track, and I bounced the sub track into an audio track so I can use the sidechain input on the multiband compressor. And you can see that the kick sample, you see the transient right there. So for those of you guys who are like, well, damn, I don't have the FabFilter Pro multiband compressor, you just need a multiband compressor that has a sidechain input. So another really popular choice is the Waves C6. Let me go to it real quick. The C6 sidechain. And this is another really popular, commonly used sidechain compressor. Logic also has a sidechain compressor. It's called the Multipressor, but you see that there's no sidechain input, so you can't use the default one in it. Technically, you could use the compressor in Logic or your built-in DAW if it has a sidechain input. And then a lot of the sidechain compressors now have a frequency range, so you could really zero in on the frequency that you want the compressor to be ducking. All right, let's listen to this demo real quick, and then we'll get going on the sidechaining. All right, so I've loaded up the Pro Multiband Compressor from FabFilter on both the kick and the sub, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's go to the sub first. So what I want to do here on this sub is I want my sub to, I want this to be the sub frequency. This kick here is kind of like my layered kick. So what I'm going to do with this, the way I have it set up, I've gone over to Sidechain. I've selected the audio track, which is audio 7. It's this OVO kick right here. So what that's doing is it's telling the compressor to listen for when it hears that kick. That's when it's going to actually do the multiband compression on the Sub-Zero 808. So in this space right here, so here we have a kick and a kick. In that space, interim space in between those two kick transients from our sidechain input, which is this OVO kick, it's not going to compress that signal. So let's solo these here, and we'll loop it. So do you hear how every time this kick hits, you have this multiband compressor, which is currently situated. It's on the sub bass bounce. Okay, so we're going to change this frequency. We want the sub bass to continue having the sub frequency. So I'm going to keep that at about, we'll go about 35. Okay, and then up here, we'll take this out to around 100. Actually, 85. Now I'm going to go up to the kick, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the sidechain input on the sub bass, which is right here, audio 6. And I've chosen here in the FabFilter Pro Q, you have to go to your expert panel, and you have to make sure that it's on sidechain and external. And we're going to turn the threshold down, turn the range there, we'll turn the release down, turn the attack down. So what this is doing is, this is now, in turn, every time the sub bass hits, it's going to take out the real low frequencies from the kick. So I'm going to take this out from about 60 down. So I'm leaving the sub content to the actual sub bass. Okay, now if we jump back over to the multiband compressor that's on the sub track, I'm also going to have this alternatively duck out some of the high frequency from this kick. Now this is, remember, this is because this specific 808 sample has a kick sample embedded with it. So what I want to do is I want to take out some of the high frequency content when the other kick that I want to layer is playing by using the sidechain multiband compression. So every time this kick happens, the blue kick right there occurs, because I've set this up the sidechain here, and we're going to select external in here. What we're going to do now is we have this set to on, we have it set to compress, and we'll change the thresholds here in a second. This is going to now duck out those frequencies. So again, if you're using the FabFilter Pro MB, you want to make sure that it's on external. Now, if you make a new band, you'll notice that it's not on external. So you're going to have to, anytime you do a new band, make sure that it's set to external. You can see that here. So we have external, external, so it's listening to the sidechain input. So I want a quick attack time and a quick release time. We'll keep the output where it is. Now let's listen to this. Let's turn the loop a little bit longer. All right, so let's take off the multiband compression on both those tracks and listen to the difference. All right, so we've got some gain reduction occurring. So I'm going to turn the sub up a little. But there you go. There's how you can use frequency ducking on a paired group of instruments, not just using it on one. I like to look at, if I'm pairing it with a kick, especially in a low end, that kick might come with some high end. Which one do I want the high end coming from? In this instance, I wanted it coming from the kick sample, and I reduced the low end coming from the kick using the multiband compressor. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm Echo Sourx. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.